good morning, good afternoon, and night. You are now listening to GregTalkz. So, my name is Greg. I am 19 years old, and I'm currently a student at community college. And I do have some good news. I recently just started working out again at Planet Fitness in Southgate, if you're wondering which location. And I do have to say, it feels very invigorating and joyful for me to actually get back into something that's making me a more healthy person because like you guys got to understand, like, I really did not I haven't like worked out since really high school, or like the end of high school, because I was on like the track and field team. So, I mean, of course, we had workout days, and we had upper body training and mostly leg training. I specifically was a hurdler, so I focused more on my legs than my upper body, but I focused on the upper body enough to kind of get it on par with my legs. So yeah, I recently started working out. One of my peers told me to go like try this 30-minute workout. So basically, at certain Planet Fitness locations, I know this is not the case for all of them, but the one that's close to me, they have like this little area where you basically there's 10 machines, and then there's like 10 steppers, which are like platforms that you just step up on, and each machine like works like a different part of your body. So like one machine works the upper body, another machine works your legs, your back, and so on and so forth. So I got on there a few days ago, and I got results. So yeah, I can honestly say it has definitely like kind of gotten me back into the groove of it. But also, it's not even that. Also, like, Planet Fitness in itself like is a really great place to me, like, because the only gym that I went to when I was younger was the YMCA, but the YMCA compared to Planet Fitness, it just doesn't have like the same like level of like the no judgment. Or actually, you know what? I take that back. It's The YMCA is fine. It's just there's not a lot of machines. The equipment, to me at least, doesn't really get cleaned, and there's usually only like one person up there that is like helping people with training, or getting used to using the machines and things like that. So Planet Fitness really has it going on because they have like the free judgment, they have like a whole plethora of machines, and then of course the people there are nice. Like, it's probably like the nicest gym I think I've ever been to. But once again, that's coming from a guy that's literally never gone into any other gym besides the YMCA for most of his life. So take that with a grain of salt. But, I will say, like, the atmosphere of Planet Fitness is amazing. And, that's where I'm going to be continuing to work out. And I would recommend anybody that wants to go to a place where, you don't have to worry about the feeling of being judged or being self-conscious about your body. I would say Planet Fitness is definitely a great place to start working out if you want to get back into the swing of it. Um, so yeah, hooray for me. So next thing I wanted to talk about was the power of friendship in anime and cartoons and how it relates to real life. So I know all of you like don't watch anime, but for those of you that do, I'm gonna specifically like speak on the shows Naruto, uh, Fairy Tail, and a few other ones that may come up. So like in Naruto like starts out at the beginning of the series. Basically, he's like an underdog, and he's not really good at a lot of things. And it isn't until his sensei Iruka essentially takes a chance on him to actually work with him and believe in him that he has potential. And once he sees that somebody has potential in him, that's when I feel like, that's when the whole friendship and depending upon other people happens. Now, it's not to say that Naruto like uses friendship as a crutch, but it actually kind of does, because over the time of the series, Naruto pretty much gets out of most situations, and this goes for Fairy Tail too with Natsu. Um, Naruto gets out of most situations by depending on his friends for power, and in the real world, you can't do everything alone, and you have to depend on certain people to get done what you need to get done. But I feel like in Naruto, it's taken so much to the extreme that is a little bit unrealistic because people when you're fighting some like insurmountable force or obstacle, I'm sorry, but even when you have people depending on you, I'm not sure realistically like that will help you to overcome the situation any more than you taking it on by yourself would have accomplished. So I think in that sense it's a little ridiculous like how many anime really like play up the whole theme of friendship, and I feel like they overdo it sometimes. I'm not saying like it's not important to have friends. It's important to have friends though, but I feel like it pushes the message that you should always depend on your friends. And that I don't feel like is a message that should be spread. I believe the message should be you need friends to do certain things. And when you're in a tough situation, like yeah, you should be able to call in your friends, but you shouldn't always have to depend on your friends. And it's really the same thing in Fairy Tale as well, where like Natsu literally in every single situation uses his friends for power. It's like the power of friendship, the My Little Pony, like friendship solves every single situation, and it just does not. Um, but yeah, as far as other anime go, like Bleach, I feel like doesn't do that. Like Bleach, I mean, Bleach does it to a certain degree, but I don't feel like it overdoes it, which is good. And I can't say that for most other shonen anime, like Black Clover, friendship. Boruto, also friendship. A lot of actually, you know what? A lot of cartoons don't actually use the theme of friendship that really at all. So, except in like a few shows, but actually, cartoons I feel like have an even balance of like using friends for certain situations, but also keeping them out to um, accentuate and elevate other characters' importance within the story. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I just like really want to kind of point that out. Like, it's not so much an issue I have with it though. It's just more so pointing out the ludicrous nature of the fact that anime like portrays friendship as this insurmountable power that can overcome every situation for you, no matter how hard the situation is for you. So, Billie Eilish. Now, I don't really have a lot to say on the new Billie Eilish album. Just some quick facts on her for those of you that don't know. She is 17 years old and she's like an indie pop artist that makes indie pop music. So that's really all that I know about her. I did listen to some of her music like a few years ago when she put out her previous album, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. I mean, I like some of the songs, but I didn't really like become a fan. Like it was her style was not anything like new. I mean, it was different. It's experimental, but that's all I really got out of it. But then when I heard this new album, this album seemed more structured than her last album, and the direction she went in it was, in my opinion, pretty good. She had like a banger, which is called "Bad Guy" for those of you who haven't heard it, and it's a darn good song to me. Like it has like a nice dance vibe to it that you can really vibe to and get into, and it also has like this creepy eerie vibe where I feel like she mixed in um that to kind of just add a scary element to an already great song. So that was good. And then she also has like a few ballads in the album where, she gets kind of emotional and is speaking towards like another person. I think the song I Wish You Were Gay, like that song really is a good song. So, I got a lot out of that song besides the fact of the title being what it is. Um it's a good song. It's a good love song though. It'll definitely get you in your feels if you're down to get super mopey and sad and thinking about your loved ones. So that's really all I have to say on Billie Eilish. I was going to talk about her more, but like I said, I'm not a big fan, so I really don't have a whole lot to say. But I would recommend check out the album if you're into like indie pop, rock, soul kind of music. Should be right up your alley. Now, another artist that I just discovered or really rediscovered was Jay Electronica. Now, this guy is pretty interesting though because there isn't really much out there in terms of music on him. He basically only has like I think a handful of songs in his discography, and that's really crazy though because usually like when I find new artists, I expect there to be at least an album or two albums or like a mixtape or something for me to go back to, but he literally has not really one mixtape. He has like one album, and then I think everything else is singles after that. And I watched a video by this YouTuber named Alpha Media. Yep, Alpha Media. And he was basically giving like a history rundown of Jay Electronica and saying that he was supposed to like put out a full feature debut album or a second album because Act 1 he was the album I mentioned earlier. He's supposed to put out Act 2 and it was highly anticipated. It was supposed to come out like in 2009 during the holiday season, and this guy never put it out. He teased it and he just trolled everybody because it never came out. And then the years following that, he continued to put out music through singles, either by being featured on other artists' work or putting out little snippets of his own work that would be featured on the upcoming album, which would be called Act 2. And I listened to the song Exhibit A and Exhibit C, and boy, let me tell you, those are amazing lyrical masterpieces to me. I mean, to talk about a guy who can really spit his stuff. Like he is really talented. Like he's definitely up there. I almost want to say though he's like rivaling Kendrick Lamar for me in terms of the way he can spit because he spits so smoothly. He's not even spitting fast. It's just the way he's flipping the words around though is like really really fluent. He's no Eminem by any means. He's not touching Eminem, but as far as like Kendrick, J. Cole, J. Rock, Schoolboy Q, uh, pretty much a lot of modern day rappers he would probably kill in terms of rapping ability and wordplay. Because let's be honest with ourselves, the most new rappers, I mean, there are some good ones. Like I did mention some good ones, Kendrick, Schoolboy, TDE, and that whole gang. But most of like the more trap rappers, like I don't feel like are gonna like touch his rapping ability. That's just being honest, though. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're not gonna touch it. But Jay Electronica is truly, truly like a really underrated talent. I do hope he does put out Act 2. Not really getting my hopes up though, because based on his track record, he's probably just going to continue putting out singles till he feels like putting out an album, which I'm fine with because that just means it's going to be even better if and when he does put it out. Um, and I'm kind of the same way with Andre 3000 on that note too, because I really want him to put out something. But Jay Electronica, though, I mean, I'm not like anticipating it, but if I get it, I'm not gonna complain. And that's all I have to say on that. Um, yeah, and that's honestly it for this episode. This is a short one, I know, but I really didn't have much to talk about this week. Those are just a few things that intrigued me over the past 7 days. Uh, and like I said, if you guys actually have any suggestions for any talking points that you might want me to speak on, let me know in the YouTube comment section, or if you can maybe leave critiques or comments on like iTunes, Spotify, or whatever platform you're currently viewing this on. That would be highly appreciated. Also, just to remind everybody where to find this podcast. This podcast is posted weekly every Thursday on anchor.fm, spotify.com, and iTunes. And it is posted weekly every Saturday at 9 a.m. on YouTube on the channel GregTalkz, the same name as this podcast. So thank you everyone for listening. And tune in next week for conversations that will be said at another time, at another place, on another date. See ya.